welcome. Welcome back to Whom It May Concern. This is a show where we interview Vermonters of all ages and walks of life and natives and transplants and all kinds of people about what is unique about living and playing and working in Vermont, particularly rural Vermont. And we're trying to capture those stories of those individuals that maybe have a unique perspective on being a Vermonter. And today we certainly have that as this occasion. And our guest is Alice Nitka. And Alice is here. She is a Vermonter, not 100%. We both realize that even though she's been here 50 years, she's still considered a Flatlander. Is that true?
That's true.
Yeah, so I'm a puppy when it comes to Flatlandering. So, Alice, why don't you just tell us how and when did you come to Vermont? What brought you here?
My husband and I, as singles, were working at Mount Snow.
Oh.
As, quote, ski bums. I mean, that meant, in those days anyway, that you certainly worked. I had 2 jobs there.
Okay.
But, you were called a ski bum because you got a free skiing pass. And
right.
We lived at a resort.
Okay.
I mean, not together. I mean,
yeah.
My husband lived with like 6
right.
waiters, and I lived with 6 other chambermaids.
Yeah.
All in one like motel unit inside the building.
Right, in Wilmington. This is Wilmington, Vermont, down by Mount Snow. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, technically West Dover.
Okay, I'm familiar. Yeah.
So anyway, we got married while we were working there.
Okay. Oh.
And then left and said we're going to live in Vermont in the future. So we left, worked for a year, and then my husband was already a lawyer when we were working at Mount Snow.
Okay, interesting.
Parents didn't appreciate it.
I'll bet they didn't, yes.
And anyway, my husband got a job in Ludlow with a lawyer here, and we moved here.
And what year is this, Alice?
This was 69.
1969,
Labor Day weekend.
Oh, there you go. So, an anniversary this past weekend.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he was making take-home pay of $42.42.
Wow. So he was rolling in it.
And
rolling in the dough.
It was trouble. We had $100 rent payment in the top of someone's chalet, 2 small rooms where he couldn't stand up. And we had a $100 a month car payment. It was seriously
That is seriously,
poverty.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, finally I was able to get a job.
And,
as a social worker, which I already was at some point. And, and here we are still in Ludlow.
Yeah.
More than half a century later. And it's been a great run.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What
made you choose Ludlow as opposed to the Wilmington area? Was it just opportunity, or?
It was a job for my husband with a lawyer that he liked.
Yes. Okay. Excellent.
So that was really
And he
good.
was a lawyer for the rest of his career. That's what he did.
Yes, he did.
And skied on the side. Did it?
Right.
We reversed it.
Right.
Okay.
So
and you became a social worker, or were a social worker. Tell me, what was that? What did that encompass? Where were you? Were you here?
At that point, we were here.
Okay.
At that point, I was working at the Vermont Occupational Training Center, and if you don't know where that is, that's the Fletcher Farm building.
Yes.
There was a training center for teens and young adults there.
Okay.
Residential.
Okay.
Worked there, and then I eventually went to work as a social worker for the state, and then I became an adoption social worker for the state, which I did for many, many years. It was a great job placing children of all ages into adoptive families, including teenagers who wanted to have a permanent family, and
they forever home,
and they weren't able to live at home. And by that time, at that age, they realized that their parents weren't going to be able to take care of them. So
this was their option.
This was an option,
and
for
you
them.
helped facilitate that.
So that was
must have been rewarding.
Very, very rewarding.
That's what I would think. It must have been very rewarding.
Yeah, some of them. I'm still in touch with a lot of them.
Oh, that's lovely.
They're in their 50s.
Yeah.
Because they were all older then, almost as old as I was.
They do get older, don't they? Yeah, little stinkers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So
then that led you into a different career.
Well, I was always involved in politics from when I was even, like in 6th and 7th grade. I was involved. I was in one debate in school that my parents were very mad at me because they said I picked the wrong side.
Oh dear! Did you win?
No.
Oh. Okay.
No. Yes.
There you go.
That
so
person
maybe you didn't pick the wrong side.
Yeah. Who knows?
Interesting. Okay.
Anyways, stayed involved with politics. Supporting different campaigns. Just behind the scenes stuff.
Sure.
In Ludlow, I got involved with the party here when we came.
Okay.
And stayed involved, and so. I was asked to run for the House of Representatives.
Wow.
And I said,
an honor.
no, I can't.
Really?
I mean, I loved my job as an adoption worker.
True. Good
I was carrying the health insurance for our family. Mm-hmm. You know, which was a big deal in terms of being able, if you have a family and having health insurance, as so many people know today.
Yeah,
it's hard
exactly.
to do.
Still a big deal.
Still a big deal.
Yeah.
So in order to, didn't run that year.
Okay.
2 more years later, I was asked to run again. Said, you know, can't you please do it?
Yeah.
And I said, well, you know, I'll have to quit my job because I was covered by the Hatch Act, which is the federal act that covers people who are receiving federal money in their salary, which I was receiving.
Right.
And therefore, you couldn't take a political position.
You couldn't have another. So it was the adoption side of your career that said you can't work for the government and work for us. It wasn't the other way around.
That's right.
Interesting.
And so you had to resign. I had to resign before the primary. So
Okay.
I might not have even have gotten on the ballot.
Yeah.
And
That was risky.
It was risky. And the other requirement was you couldn't go back to work for 18 months in any of those positions for the state that had federal money.
Wow.
So it was like, geez, it's a big chance.
Boy, this is a big chance.
Fortunately, I did win.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
And
this is what year?
This is 69. Yeah, 69.
Okay.
No, not
you were here in 69. Yeah.
This
is several years later.
Yeah, this is 99.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So 1999, you are a woman in the House of Representatives. You've resigned your job and can't go back to it if you lose for close to 2 years.
That's right.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So I got elected in 90, I don't know, I got elected in 99, started serving. 2000 is when.
Okay, you began.
Yeah, or maybe I decided in 99.
Okay.
Anyway.
Right. Okay.
One of those years.
Got it.
Anyway, then I was in the House of Representatives for 8 years.
Okay.
And then I decided to run for the Senate. So I was in the Senate for 16 years.
Wow.
Some interesting stuff happened in those years.
So let me ask you about we talked a little bit about this, but what was where did you stand with, women in public service in Vermont at that time? Were you one of the front runners? Were you one of the new women in that? Were there several women? Were there other women that you were colleagues with? Where did you, what was kind of the ratio back then?
I don't know if I could speak to the ratio, but I know I was serving on the House Natural Resources Committee, 11-member committee. I was one woman with 10 men, which was like, somebody said, well, how's Alice going to do it? I was, oh, Alice will handle herself. Like, really?
And was that normal? Was that kind of what it was?
That was a little more lopsided than
Yeah.
some others. I mean, there were not many women there then,
Right.
but they held their own.
Yeah. Yeah.
And on that committee, it was interesting. We all sat at a big table. Nobody had individual desks in the committee rooms.
Sure.
On the floor of the House, yes,
Right.
you have your own
Yeah,
desk.
yeah, exactly.
So there was one guy. I was actually made the vice chair of the committee.
Oh.
And the chair was a farmer from Canaan, Vermont, on the Canadian border, literally as far as it was on the border. Big farm.
About as far as north as you can get.
Yeah, 300 milkers and like 400 heifers. And then a guy on the other end of the table was a guy from over, in Windsor County, but he was composting under his desk. It was such a contrast to people. Another guy who I thought would probably put lead paint on cribs. It was just a mixed bag of people.
Wow.
And it was great.
Yeah.
One of the things we accomplished there, prior to that time, the environmental court judge, a woman, doesn't matter if she was a woman or a man.
Yeah.
The person had to find their own place to hold court around the state. So that took up a lot of the time. And, had no supports at all. Just had to get out and into the county where the thing
and
was.
find something.
Find a place to have the court for that week.
Wow.
And so during that committee, we were able to get another environmental court judge and establish a court that could be based in one place. It could travel around.
Yeah.
And we did want it to travel around.
Yeah,
so it
sure,
could be in the
because it's a
area.
big state, relatively.
And be in the area where people were doing an appeal and trying to understand the area.
Right. Wow.
So it was
that was an accomplishment.
that was an accomplishment.
Yeah. So what was it like? So you lived in Ludlow and then you traveled
I
Weekly?
stayed overnight in
Okay.
Montpelier,
Okay.
as most people did from far away.
Okay.
If you live nearby, you could commute.
Sure.
So first place I stayed was in a hotel across the street.
Right.
That was too expensive on the
Yeah.
salary.
Yeah.
Even though you did get a stipend.
Yeah,
Those
but it's
homes.
not going to cover anything. Yeah.
Not like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so then I subsequently moved into a motel,
Okay.
definitely third or fourth rate, and
But affordable.
affordable.
Right.
It had slide keys for, it had outside doors, but it had slide electronic
right,
keys.
right.
Well, of course, on cold days, the key wouldn't work.
Right. And there are cold days here.
And you get
Yeah.
back from work and
Right.
you get over there and you wouldn't be able to get in.
Right.
And the desk clerk there was always drunk, so he wouldn't come to the desk. So one learned to put like something in the door to keep it from closing tightly, so you could get back in.
Oh my goodness!
It was-
There's security for you.
There's security for him.
Yeah,
One guy,
exactly.
one new guy, legislator, he said to me, "Alice, I've heard that a lot of people have keys to all the rooms." I said, "They do. I have about 14 in my purse, but none of them work."
I'm still standing out in the cold,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! And how long would you stay up there? Would you stay for a week and then come home for the weekend?
So go.
Okay.
Sometimes you'd have to go on Monday night if there was a big snowstorm, because
Yeah,
you had
true.
to get there by Tuesday morning.
Right. Yeah.
So, or you'd go.
And that was and legislation was in
Started
session
Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning till Friday afternoon.
Yes. So
Okay.
Friday at the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
I mean,
true.
every committee operated differently. Some
Sure.
people got out early on a Friday,
Yeah.
others didn't.
Yeah.
I'd get home at about 8:00 on a Friday night.
Yeah. So you would come back to Ludlow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drive back to Ludlow.
Yeah, no matter what.
Yeah,
It's
I'll
like
bet.
I'm
I'll
getting
bet.
home.
I'm getting home. I don't care what I'm
Yeah.
driving through. I'm not
That's
going to
right.
mess with this key again.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're in the legislator for 8 years?
8 years in the
8
house.
years in the House. And then what made you choose to...
I have to admit, I'm not bragging about myself, but there are a lot of people who work hard. I work hard. And I
believe
thought
that.
I can represent more people than
Okay.
just my
Yeah, your
small
little
geographic
community.
area.
Yeah. Okay.
And there are a lot of issues that I wanted to work on. So
Okay.
anyway, I ran for the Senate and got in
Okay.
there.
Okay.
And in the House, you serve on one committee. In the Senate, you serve on two.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
so-
Okay. And do you pick the committee or do they
No,
pick it?
you put in
Okay.
your first and
bid.
second and third choices.
Okay.
And then you see what happens.
Yeah, got it. Okay. And what were the committees that you served on in the Senate?
I was always on the Judiciary Committee.
Oh,
I
okay.
had been on it in the House too.
Okay.
And then I also was on Appropriations for
Okay.
a long time as the vice chair of that.
Okay.
So
Got it.
that was very, you learn so much when
bet.
you're there. You
I'll
learn so
bet.
much on every issue imaginable.
Yeah,
And
comes across absolutely
comes
comes through
across.
one of those two
that's
committees.
right. There's
Yeah.
a lot of other committees too that
Yeah,
are
yeah.
very busy and you need
Yeah.
to know a lot. But Appropriations, you see all the money being
Absolutely.
spent. So
It's
you
like
see
being the
all the
treasurer.
issues.
Being the treasurer of the PTA, you know everything that's going on, every penny.
Right.
Yeah.
So
right.
that's a very
And you make decisions about it, or
right.
you, yeah.
Right. Painful ones.
I'll bet. I'll
for-
bet. Yeah. That are affecting people's lives
Yes,
and
yeah.
livelihoods.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
But there were decisions that had to be made.
Yeah.
And so anyway.
What were the issues that you when you said I'd like to represent the state as opposed, or more of the
Yeah.
state as opposed to my community? What were the issues that you were thinking of? Were there some specific?
Well, one of the things going on then, when I was in the House, we did civil unions, which was,
okay.
Allowed same-sex couples to have the benefits and responsibilities
Right.
of marriage, but it wasn't called marriage, it
Right,
was civil
exactly.
unions.
Right.
That was I was a freshman at the time, on the Judiciary Committee,
Okay.
which did that bill.
Okay.
And people maybe recall it, but the state was split apart, people
Okay.
who
Yeah.
were against it, people
Sure,
who were for
sure.
it. It was really a lot of educating myself too,
Yeah,
and the rest of
yeah.
our committee. The committee
Yeah.
says, "What are we doing this for?"
Yeah. Wow.
Who needs this?
Am I correct that Vermont was the first state to
Yes.
pass that? Okay.
Yep.
And what year was that? Do you remember?
That was 2000.
Wow.
We just had
25
the
years
25th
ago.
anniversary of it,
25 years ago.
and it was tough.
I'll bet.
A lot
bet.
of it was, and for the members of the committee as well,
Absolutely.
learning, saying, why are we doing this? What's needed?
Right,
I was
right.
never asked about this previously.
Yeah. Yeah.
But our Supreme
Right.
Court made a decision that said that couples had the right to equal benefits under the
Yeah.
Common Benefits Clause.
Yeah.
And so they said, they threw it to the legislature and said, figure it
Okay.
out.
Yeah. So now make that happen. Yeah.
Yeah,
This
so-
is what's in there.
Yeah,
Now you need to
can you
make
do
that a
it?
reality. And that must have been,
It was a committee of 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans.
Okay.
And the chair of the committee was a Republican.
okay. And he was, or she was one of
He
those
was-
5.
He was a Republican, one of those 5.
Got it.
And very bright man, Tom Little from Shelburne, a lawyer.
Yeah.
And we explored every issue that one could have thought of. And of course, going door to door afterwards,
Yeah. Yeah.
after that had passed and the election.
Yeah.
Believe me, people said stuff to me at doors that I wouldn't have said ever to my husband.
I'll
it's like,
bet.
"Jeez,"
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stuff. But
Yeah.
everybody,
Everybody had an opinion.
Everybody had concerns.
Yeah, they had concerns, they had an opinion,
Yeah.
and you happened to be the face of that
Yeah,
at
yeah.
that point in that committee. Wow.
Well, I mean, we got through it. And the other funny thing is, we needed something to call it. First, it was being called a domestic partnership, and that, I said, that's something Hawaii tried, and
Yeah, yeah.
it didn't work. We're not
Yeah.
going to call it that.
Okay.
So one woman kept saying, we need something that's civil, like they do in England, some kind of civil
Sure.
something.
Yeah.
So one day, finally, when we were almost at the end,
Yeah.
somehow the words came out, civil union. We all said, yes, that's it.
That's it.
That's
We
it.
have a name.
We have a name.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, within maybe a year after that, George Bush was talking about this. He was the president at the time. And he was
Wow.
talking about this. And he goes, I could go for one of those civil union things. People are asking him, what does he think?
Right.
He goes, I could go for one of those things.
Wow.
He said, geez.
There's influence beyond your little state,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Our brave little state.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, and then
Fascinating.
many years later, then I forget what year this was, we did marriage equality, which
Okay.
took the name of marriage.
Right.
That was later, and I was in the Senate then.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was really a learning experience.
Yes,
I mean,
I'll bet.
lots of threats, lots of screaming at
I'll
me.
bet. Yeah. It was
Lots
a
of,
very hot,
guy had
hot, contested
It
issue.
sure was. The guy on the committee had his tires cut.
Wow.
Somebody else was in McDonald's. They had legislative plates on their truck.
Oh, boy.
Person behind them with another truck slamming into the back of them, and they couldn't get out of the McDonald's.
Yeah.
They were too
Yeah.
far into the line.
Yeah. Wow.
There's a lot of
Amazing.
stuff went on.
So I have a personal story about that. My
Yeah.
niece and her wife are from Africa and live in Africa. And they came to the United States and to Vermont. And they had their civil ceremony here in Vermont. This was probably I'm going to say maybe 13 years ago. And then they got married in South Africa, and but they wanted to get married in the United States, and I lived here. And they said, Aunt Shawn, we're coming to Vermont, and we're going to get married. And they got married right at the gazebo
is
out
that
here.
right?
And so I'm personally affected by that legislation.
yeah.
And they are a lovely, wonderful couple and wonderful parents. And
Yeah.
I'm thankful that they had that opportunity, and they chose here to do
Yeah.
it. And this was many other states had already made that
Yeah,
decision
yeah.
by then.
There were so many issues that people really didn't think about. I mean, many of these couples had children.
Yes.
And there wasn't a way for making sure that the children were protected with regard to child
Absolutely.
support and things like that.
Absolutely.
Who,
or healthcare decisions.
where they would live.
Exactly.
And we studied healthcare.
Yeah,
We
I'll
studied
bet.
banking.
Yeah.
How are
you
all
must
these
have had to
things
look
gonna
at
work? We had
every
to look
aspect
at
of somebody's
everything.
life.
We had to look
Yeah.
at everything and
Yeah.
all the the facilities that would be
Yeah,
affected.
absolutely. So does it come out of committee and then it goes to the floor, and
Yes.
then did it pass the first time? Did it pass?
It did.
It did.
I mean, we did.
You had
huge
so
and
prepared it.
We were really. I mean, we did tons of vote counting.
Yeah.
And we changed things to get people's vote.
Yeah,
where
sure.
they were really concerned about something. Well,
Okay.
what can we do to make this work?
Right, so that they
better?
will back it.
Yeah. It was a
Interesting.
very close vote,
Wow.
yeah.
Now, what made you decide to leave the Senate?
I'd been in the business for a long
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Getting older, and I thought, maybe somebody else can do this job.
Okay. Yeah.
so
And so that was. Did you ever think of running on a national level?
no,
Never. Okay. Only Vermont.
only Vermont.
Only Vermont. Yeah. Okay. I could see that.
Certainly, you have to have a good partner in life, or you
Absolutely.
couldn't pull this off.
For many things. Yes,
I mean,
for
my
many
husband
things,
had
yeah.
to take on a lot of jobs that, maybe he wouldn't have done.
Sure.
Maybe he would have. I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah.
But
yeah.
I wasn't home all week.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why our marriage lasted. I don't know.
That's what I say. I used to travel quite a bit, and I was like, my husband was fine with that. Yeah, it was it was okay, So fabulous. So so now how do you spend your time now that you're not out there in the rough and tumble of the political world?
I seem to be very busy.
Oh, really? That's
wonderful. I have so much crap going on.
Crap in a good way.
Yeah. I mean, maybe too much sometimes.
Yeah. And what is that? Is it volunteering? Is it, what kind of things are you involved in?
Some volunteering.
Okay.
Some, I have two grandsons. One's 6 and one's 9
Oh, boy.
now.
Okay. So there you go.
One's in New York City and one's in Rutland. So,
okay. Lovely.
I go to New York, get on the train in Albany, and
Yeah.
go to New York. Something I never thought I'd do. Just to go down there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the train is the most civilized way to travel.
Yeah, it's so
Isn't it the
nice.
most wonderful way to travel?
And it's not that expensive.
It isn't at all.
Yeah.
And when you think of the time, I've actually taken the train from here to Philadelphia or Claremont to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And it's about 8 hours, but it would take me 6 to drive it.
Oh, so
and you
can relax
You're
along the
reading.
way.
You're reading, and you can have water, and
You can look out the window.
Yeah, exactly. I tell people that all day. I say you can get to Vermont by train,
Yeah.
and they're fascinated. They're
Yeah,
like,
you
really?
can.
Yeah. So, and then Rutland, you can just drive and see the other one, right?
Yeah, that one takes a long time, so I never take that one. But you can drive to Albany.
Yeah, true.
Tremendous parking there.
Yeah.
Free. Well, it's not free, but it's cheap.
But it's so cheap. Yeah, exactly.
And just there's a lot of trains out of Albany versus
Absolutely.
Rutland.
You can get to pretty much everywhere out of Albany.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So nice. Okay.
So anyway.
And then those things fill up your day and your time, and Do you still ski?
I only go cross country now.
Oh.
It's too bad.
Wow. Cross country seems hard.
It's not.
No, it's not? Wow.
I mean, it is if you're going up big hills. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you give up skiing?
Well, in the legislature, I'm gone all week.
Yeah.
And then I'd come home, and there would, of course, be a lot to do.
Exactly. So taking a day to go skiing.
You'd have to go to a lot of meetings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
To go skiing, it was like I'd be up there with all the crowds.
Right.
Than,
exactly.
I was like, well.
Yeah. Do I really want to do, right. Is this how I want to spend my time when I'm back home after being away all week? Exactly. Yeah. So.
Yeah, can I fit it in?
Yeah.
And with a crowd.
Right. Exactly. Right. Can I fit it in while I'm standing in line?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I really want to make that happen?
It's too bad.
There you go.
Too bad I didn't go anymore.
That's okay.
But cross-country skiing is certainly.
It is. How about snowshoeing? Do you do that?
Nope, too hard.
Yeah, that can be hard. It's funny. We told people that we moved to Vermont. We moved here permanently 5 years ago and temporarily 20 years ago. And people thought we were crazy when we said we were moving to Vermont.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can't take the cold. It's so cold. It's terrible. But you know what? If you have an activity and you're dressed correctly, you can spend the whole winter. You can be outside in winter and be comfortable.
Definitely.
You really can, And my friends are like, "Oh, give me Florida," and I think, well, geez, it's
too hot.
It can only take off so many clothes and it be legal, So here, at least, we can be active in Vermont all winter, and I think that's a great thing. And I find that Vermonters are very active people.
Yeah,
they're a very active population. Mm-hmm. They are outside, they're doing something all summer, all winter. They're always active.
Yeah.
They're not the couch potatoes, That's my experience.
Yeah, most are not. I mean, that's right. I think that's true. And I think, if you live here, you do want to do stuff outside.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so beautiful. Why would you not, So, interesting. So, okay, so I have a couple questions, kind of parting questions for you. So, and I ask these to most of my guests. So I like to ask people if they could think back, and is there a defining moment? Was there a moment in your life? And there's dozens of them, of course, but I want you to think about one that was really significant, where you made a decision, or you could have gone left and you went right. You came to a T and you had to make a decision, and it literally changed the course of your life. So when you think back on your history and your time, is there a defining moment that you have, number one, and that you'll be willing to share with us, number two?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think what was a defining moment was deciding that I would quit my job and run for the legislature.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a big step for me because I did love my job.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And it put you in a very different position in all kinds of ways, financial and
living away from home.
living away from home and being a woman living away from
Yeah.
home. That wasn't the norm back then. Yeah.
Well, it was for people in the legislature.
Yeah, that's true. But even that,
You know.
there weren't that many women in the legislature at that point,
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think what would your life have been like if you hadn't made that choice?
I mean, I've always been working with children.
Yeah.
I had another job even after I got elected to the legislature. I got another job as a social worker.
Oh, okay.
But not
part of the
not
restricted.
part of this.
Okay.
Right. I got it for
Yeah.
Eckert Youth Alternatives,
Okay.
which is an outfit out.
Because you didn't have enough to do when you were
Right,
bored.
right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Needed the money too
Yeah,
because
I'll bet.
the legislature's pay was
No,
quite poor.
You're not going to retire on the Yeah,
No,
exactly.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
And I wanted to get health insurance. I mean,
Yeah.
my husband did not have health insurance in his business.
because he was an independent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm assuming
that
I would
would
just
be-
stay in something that involved children and families.
Okay. Yeah. Which was an okay thing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was a
Yeah, it would
nice
have been a
career.
lovely thing.
Yeah.
And yet, there was a lot of experiences that you've had as a legislator that most people don't get to have, and that's
Right,
I think that's
right.
pretty
It
interesting
is-
and exciting.
It is unique.
Yes, it is.
But you're not special because of it, believe me.
Well, the people at McDonald's make that clear. Legislative plates. Somebody made it clear to that fella that being in the legislature doesn't necessarily make it special. Exactly.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, then my last question is, what would you like people to know about Vermont?
I think the people are great.
Yeah.
The people are great. Even the people you don't agree with or don't have anything in common with, the people here are great.
They are.
Yeah.
That's a great observation.
Yeah, really.
That's
mean,
true.
Certainly,
They are.
tons of people that haven't agreed with me on a lot of things, and they're still, they're very good people.
Yeah,
and
respectful and
they're great. Even the ones that have treated me poorly. No, really. I mean, I wanted always to meet with them as well.
Yeah.
And hear their perspective, and I think, it's a way to everybody could do better.
Sure. Absolutely. Couldn't we all? But and in general, that would be how you would classify Vermonters. I like that. I think the people here are great. I would
People
agree
here
with
are
that.
great.
They are.
Whether they're transplanted here or they're
or they're
generations
permanently, or they're
here.
Yep.
Yeah, really. They're
Yep.
all
Whatever their cadence is.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something, and maybe what that is that because Vermont is such a unique and incredibly beautiful place, it draws those kind of people. It draws people that are good and that they all have this common, love of the state. And maybe that's part of what contributes to them being so great. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You.
So thank you, Alice Nitka. Just as in a parting here, I am Shawn Kershaw. This is To Whom It May Concern. And these are stories that you can hang your hat on. And we will see you next time. Have a great day.